APSO wanted to talk about the band system of medicine ways and how it was thought it could self-perpetuate and self-finance and go exponential following fractal patterns that we start. And our band is basically a fractal that's ahead in time and place with its developments, and basically a step away from living the life fully. But anyone else who would join the system now would be right at the beginning of their journey. And so there's education, there's time for reflection, which takes like 6 to 12 months to get through the professional permaculture education, realistically anyway, to give people a chance to assimilate the information. And in that sense, we have a little bit of filter control.
So the filtering process for the Midgard Band, for the medicine ways, is the APSO qualification. Is that so?
Yeah. Yes, because for many years we tried designing in our own education to be that filler, to be that process. We called it Upstream Education. So it was a conscious component in the system for many years. But after like 3 years of trying to put this together myself, I realized I'm not a teacher and I didn't have the content and I couldn't speak the language. I've come from outside of academia all my life and self-learned in a lot of areas, but by seeking out authentic, knowledgeable people and people who are ahead of their field, basically. So, but what I realized right at the end here was I couldn't do that job. So I went on a frenzy. I finally started taking permaculture seriously. I realized what it was. It was exactly the missing link I was looking for. It was all cross-discipline from all the scientists and experts from all fields in life, especially within our biophysical reality, which was the bit I was looking for. We needed the facts to go on before we could build this up. And Matt Powers had done that because he followed Bill Mollison. Bill Mollison taught Jeff Lawton, who's another great teacher. And then Matt immediately went on Jeff Lawton's course at a time when he was begging for someone in the world to find a way to make this viral so we could re-educate the whole world with this knowledge system, with this design system. So Matt did it as his coursework to get his PDC. He designed a digital, most updated in the world platform for PDC and for the first time advanced PDC certification. And then to bring in the expert microbiologists and climatologists and everybody working on all parts of the system to see what we could learn from the patterns, basically. And oh my God, what a life-changing experience it is. We did not get this at school, and everybody should, I feel. So the moment me and Sarah did our certification with Matt, I realized, shit, this was what I was trying to design all those years ago. And I started talking personally with Matt immediately about our projects. And he said that, oh my God, our project is so developed that I could use it for my second certification by actually launching this system. And so it all tied together, basically. And we even talked about us becoming teachers on the APSO course later if we develop a successful model. So it's like a Russian doll situation, hopping in and out of each other here with concepts. But I'm glad to see it was perfect harmony. It goes hand in hand with our system.
You're talking about the importance of the APSO course. How did that change your approach to the land? What did you do differently? What have you done differently after you got certificated?
The first thing I got excited about was we were away for like 4 years and we let the native species take over all my landscaping. And that just went on automatic basically for those 4 years. But when it came out the education and I understood how the microbiology works as a community and what plant groups activate in what order throughout the health and recovery of a landscape, it was mind-blowing. I could look at the plants in their polycultures in their groups saying, oh, wow, I know what's happening in the roots. I know what microbiology is active here because I know where in the succession that landscape is. And so from that knowledge, I can choose among our food species now, and I would know exactly where in succession a preferred plant is to be able to put into that native polyculture and slowly start replacing the native species more and more with the food human-centric species or food fiber fuels, materials, all of that stuff. And it will be optimal health in the roots for that plant and for that plant group. and we will know we'll get optimal harvests.
Should someone
Okay.
should someone be interested in taking this APSO course?
Absolutely.
What is the way?
I would we've made it easier now because of the agreements with Matt. We're going to do video with Matt soon to talk about this. We've systemized it now, and we've tried it independent of the Patreon channel. And last year we got like over 20 people into their APSOs at different points. But now it's on the Patreon channel as an actual tier to choose, so it's much easier to connect to our system. And what you'll find then is you've crossed over the reality barrier there. You become a MedicineWise member by making that choice. And that's the lowest official layer of membership in MedicineWise. It doesn't have voting rights that can steer the evolution of the actual, the professional entity, because we need people to be educated before they're allowed to be able to influence in that way. So that's why, like I was saying earlier, APSO is the critical process, I think, to make sure everybody's gone through. But you are a member, and we will respect that and honor it. On Facebook, we have an independent group to support APSO students who are MedicineWise members, and we call it digital membership. And in that way, neither of us have more obligations to each other than helping get that person through their studies and get to the first certification, the PDC, the Permaculture Design Certificate with Matt. Once Matt has said that certification has been reached, and we do estimate that's like 6 to 12 months of a person's time, depending on how intensive they do it. I will point out here, it's on your own timeline. There's no homework, there's no stress. You work your way through the sequence of the course, and then you have contact with Matt, who, as the teacher and the facilitator, he will give you a design task towards the end to be able to judge only then how well you can design to a landscape and all of that. It's great stuff. It's really empowering stuff. And you can apply that later in life to either a balcony and go regenerative to a 50-hectare site. It's all the same principles that guide the planet's mechanisms, basically. And you will learn that on APSO, and we've made that easier through the Patreon channel. So,
you've been talking about MedicineWise and the Midgard Band. What's the relationship between the Midgard Band and MedicineWise?
We've named that early so we can make a distinction that there is a band that is live now, and we're the experiment. Since we're ahead of the game and we're into our APSOs, or we have been certificated, then we're into the smallest ecological footprint research, testing on ourselves. And in my eyes, that is the ultimate challenge that we could do in this life. I don't think we could set ourselves a more exciting or valuable task at this time than getting those answers, because by getting those processes right in the natural order of things, we can reflect that wider and wider and apply it faster and faster to solve problems. So by calling it the Midgard Band and associating it with just this site, first of all, and then just me and Sarah, the first certificated, and then you and Yansu coming through the system right behind us, and then hopefully my daughter after that. And then Sarah's mother is on site breeding Arabic horses as well. And she's gone through APSO and she's ready to go into certification. But she's focusing on regenerative breeding of full-blooded Arabic horses as an income stream, also to bring in to support the Midgard Band's off-grid challenge. So by referring all the time back to Midgard Band, people have an example to look at. It's like, oh, how's it going for these guys? And before I get too deep into this, we'll always be like 1,000 steps ahead, and we'll talk freely and answer people's questions.
Why the Midgard Band? Why this name?
Well, I've worked with indigenous leadership around the world for 26 years, and I was trying to find something in the local history that I could connect to as part of the evolution of what happens next, especially when we're talking about whole society model shifts. Then it was a respectful thing and a natural thing that we wanted a smooth connection to the past. And so we chose the name Midgard from the old sagas, or the oral tradition, basically, was because that was the world of the normal people, the little people, the human beings that got destroyed at Ragnarok. And I have a strong inclination that this is the area it happened in. So I just wanted to leave the history there by connecting the name of our band and the Midgard Black Ship. It's now and then I find stones and things that I have questions about, and I respectfully put them aside to use them for special things later. And I like to think these are the stones that the ancestors of the 500s actually were handling and building with. And yeah, so I want to keep that history connection alive. And that's what I promised the indigenous elders in Arizona in 2004. We would really make an authentic effort to connect to the local people through the deepest roots that we could rediscover.
How do the locals welcome the Midgard Band in that regard?
We've been so involved internally developing an actual system that unfortunately it's cut social contact for a few years as we've been making on-site developments. But now we're reaching the point where it's going to become critical to start in an organic way, reaching out to people who are closest to us in the landscape, in the bioregion, but obviously starting locally. And we're dealing with food security and seed security and things like that. So there's plenty of really positive models out there for connecting with local community through food production. So there's anything from CSAs to inviting to events on our site. And so there's a lot of things I think we can try that we've got to look forward to, and put some open invitations out there so people will get a chance later to see what we're about.
Okay, Kevin, what's the plan this week?
This week, since we put out this the first episode of this, it's sped up the timeline here because a friend's come to me to say he's ready tomorrow to pick up all the tires. So we're going after 100 tires to bring here, and so I can get that wall up in between the rainy weather, and we can get those grey water planters sorted out and get it legalized as fast as possible. So that's pretty much this weekend. So I'll be preparing for the tires basically today. That's the answer to the question.
Good luck for that. All right. Good luck for the pounding.
Thank you very much, Christoph.
And we'll see you next week.
You certainly will.